What's good? My name is Mars, and this is Beneath the Surface.
I don't belong right here. I don't belong right there neither. Go to my soul, feeling my ego. Never catch me alone. My team, you got a pre-dope. Used to flip in the wheel. Back then we know my heart still deal from the Bobby Valentino. I don't belong right here. I don't belong right there neither. Birthplace not there neither. Hometown not there neither.
Welcome to the Beneath the Surface podcast with Tim and Z.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Beneath the Surface. Today we have a very special guest. He has 4 albums out. He's a singer based in Qatar. He's originally Egyptian. And he's nearly hitting 100,000 listeners on Spotify. His name is Mars Ammar. What's up, bro?
Nice to meet you, bro. Thank you guys for having me here.
Thank you so much for coming, even though we're very late.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Had to mention that.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, that we will be discussing multiple things. We'll be discussing, we've mentioned it before, multiple podcasts that we'll be discussing psychological issues, sports, music, and today's episode is all about music. So, first question is, what made you start music?
See, music wasn't a big part of my life. My childhood growing up, like my parents weren't really into music to begin with. It wasn't like a thing that we had in the house. My parents would listen to things every now and then, but it wasn't like a huge part. Mm-hmm. And I got introduced to just music with my friends, through early high school and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then what got me really into hip hop was a friend of mine. His name was Abdulaziz Ojatola. He's a Nigerian guy. Yeah, shout out. He raps now. He just started rapping this year, so I think he goes by the name of Spike. So shout out my boy.
Spike.
Yeah. And around that same year, we had this English class, and my English teacher, basically, he was one of the first people to kind of push me to do not hip hop per se, but poetry. He recognized that I had something. And actually, at the time, I hadn't been speaking English for too long, because I moved from an all-Arabic school to an all-English school, in 1 year. So he was one of the teachers that were kind of, recognized that gap that I had, and he would try to push me through it. So when we had that class, I went home and I wrote a poem, probably something stupid about my mom.
Yeah.
And
You still have that poem?
I really don't. I wish I do. I really wish I do, bro. Because I told the story so many times, and every time I wish I had that poem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so basically, everyone else had to go up on front of the class and just recite the poem. But for me, I couldn't. I was too shy. I wasn't confident enough in my English. So my teacher was like, "I'll do it," and he ended up tearing up.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if the poem was that good, or if he had just something recent that happened to him, or if it was that bad. I don't know which
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, "Yo, you have something. You should just pursue writing more and more." And I don't know. I just did that, and I just kept writing. And
Around what age was that?
I was in grade 10, so I was I would say around maybe 12, 13. Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist at that time? Your first favorite artist?
The first hip hop artist I heard was Eminem.
Eminem.
Yeah, and it was When I'm Gone. I think that was the first song I've heard for him. I just really liked how he was able to kind of just put so much emotion in the words,
Yeah.
And I used to even copy his lyrics and write them down on tissue paper in class because that was just cool to do. It was cool to write in class.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't have the capability of writing my own shit while the teacher's talking, so I just copied a few bars and I showed them to my friends, and I just liked the reaction that they had to the bars, and I'm like, yo, I can do this. I want to do this.
Okay.
So we always talk about the Qatar music industry and how it's not to the level that it could be.
Yeah.
What do you think it needs?
I think right now, in general, hip hop in general, worldwide is basically it's the number one genre, right? It's it's kind of the most played genre. I think for 2018 it was the third, but 2017 it was the number one, right?
Okay.
So and I think that transcends everywhere, right? And if you look at just the region in general, recently I think it's doing better than it ever did.
Yeah. It's at a peak.
Yeah, it definitely is at a peak. You got Spotify coming here as well. I mean, there's a reason for why they decided to eventually come here. They saw and from that I was able to discover a lot of sort of regional artists and all sorts of vibes, you know, and all sorts of accents and languages, and it's really beautiful. As far as the city itself, I think that we just need time. I think we need time, and I think people need to kind of stop waiting for something to happen and start doing something. And I think that happened to me personally. You know, I was the most person on a bitch about it, bro. Like I'd be like, oh man, there's no this, there's no that. We need, like, you know, other cities have venues that bring out artists. Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, you know, because I heard about this place and different kinds of venues that just are there for upcoming artists in the States or in Canada, whatever, and you just go there and you kind of perform your thing, and people who are there looking for upcoming artists. So it's kind of a nice spot, and we didn't have any of that. And I always say, like, I wish we did. And then I realized, like, yo, why do I have to wait for someone else to do it?
Okay.
Why don't I just get my own venue and my own space and just do something, you know? And that kind of was one of the motives behind the Summer Stories event that we did, which is, you know, we don't have to wait for someone else to do it for us. We just find a place, get everybody together, and just kind of create.
How was your
something.
experience with your first ever event?
As far as me, or like the last one, or my very first performance?
Your very,
ever?
very first performance. How did you feel? How was the interaction? Did your expectations was met, or was it higher than that?
Okay, I need to think back, like, at my first event, because
Where was it actually?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. I mean, from the top of my head, the one I could remember to be the earliest. Oh man, are you talking like early? Like I could think as early as high school. Like I had a performance in high school.
Okay.
Absolute trash. But at the time, it felt like it was amazing, man. Like it was a talent show in high school, you know. And we had the entire school there, and I went up and I performed this song that I wrote for my little brother, and he was sick at the time, so, like, you know, it was a big family thing for us. And I just wrote that song there, and when I performed it, I had, like, such a terrible accent as well, you know, like a very Arab Egyptian accent.
Yeah.
But then, like, after that, it was just so much fun that, like, this girl came up and started singing, and we just started doing covers, like, on stage, you know, in front of everybody. And it was just, I remember that feeling, and I'm like, I want, like, I could live like this, like, I want this.
You want more.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, and then after that, there was a few more talent shows, like in uni and stuff.
So you studied uni here?
Yeah, the main university here as well.
Okay.
We had a talent show. I even performed at the first, you know, when you first go into university. It's not even orientation; it's even before that. I don't know what it was.
As in, what's it called? Welcome week?
Something like that. Yeah. And like I performed there, and I actually met one of my good friends and another rapper at the time who was in another university close by, and like he was attending. And it was just like it was a fun performance. But I don't know if I would count these as actual events, right? Because these are just like kind of
uni events in school.
Yeah. I would say my first performance outside of, let's say, uni in school was at a club. It was at A1 Hip Hop Club. It was not even open at the time right now, but it was kind of popping back then. And yeah, it was in Qatar. And I remember I had my first EP. It was called Deep. My first solo EP.
Yeah.
And it was a very laid back kind of like West Coast passive aggressive kind of vibe, you know. So it wasn't very club friendly at all. And I just, like, we pushed so much. I remember me and Track, who used to be here, my boy. He's in Canada now. We fought so much to get that show going, because it was like, you know, no one's ever done that before.
You
know?
made a whole album track, right?
Yeah, after that, and the album was basically was birthed from that experience, because I realized, I don't have anything that I can perform at clubs. You know, I was like, my shit, like my comfort zone at the time was that vibe, and that's what I wanted to do. You know. And I mean, I went up and I did it, and, like, you know, we had everyone there, our friends and whatever, and they vibed with it. And it was a very, like, at the time as well, they were playing a lot of old school, so it worked, but it just wasn't the energy I usually see at clubs, you know. And I'm like, I want to kind of try to experiment with something different. And that's when me and Track did that. Yeah, exactly. Literally, we called it Leaf Banger, like, for lack of other options. Like, it was. Yeah, we were called the Leaf of Trust at the time, and it was a banger album, so we were like the Leaf Banger.
Yeah.
It was that shallow. It was that shallow of an experience, to be honest. But it just bangs, you know, and that's it. And then from there on, we had a goal, and I think we achieved it with the album. Like, we've done so many club performances after that, to the point where I'm actually sick of clubs at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
And the songs, or do you get sick of songs after you, like? keep reciting them?
I get sick of songs while working on them, so that happens. So, but when I go back, I always kind of have those days where I'm like, yo, today I just want to listen to my shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll just go back and like I'll just be in a mood for it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm always trying to I'm always listening to whatever I'm working on right now.
What's your favorite album? The most recent one? Summer Stories.
Summer Stories. Yeah.
Shout out Summer Stories
Shout
on
out
all
Summer Stories,
platforms.
Yep.
I would say yeah, but I think that's the thing. Like you always feel like whatever you just put out,
Is the best.
your most recent is the best, and it's kind of like the freshest to you. But then literally you look back at it like a year later, and you're like, fuck, like bitch.
Yeah.
You know, like I look back at Out of Bounds right now, and I'm like, you know, I could have done that different. Could have done that
'Cause you learn
different.
all the time.
Exactly. And I'm like, and with that in mind, I'm always like, okay, I know this is gonna be trash in a few years, you know. So
Yeah.
But for now, it's the best shit out.
for now, it is the best shit out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So for the feedback and the criticism that you received, did that affect how hard you were working, or that push you more to do more work and to perfect whatever you were doing?
So it depends. Like, what kind of feedback are you thinking? Like, you're thinking from people listening to the music, from friends, because like that's the thing. I don't know. I feel like I've always, when I started doing this, like I had no idea where it was going. Like I didn't do it because I wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
Or even like that performance or anything. Like that came way after, and that was still fun to me. You know, when I really started doing this, I just liked and I enjoyed listening to it. And I have so many songs that aren't even out. Like you said, I have 4 albums.
Yeah.
And 4 albums is that what 30 songs?
A lot.
I got like 500 songs that I've not
Yeah.
that have not seen the light. And I would never release them. They're just more of like the process for me. I just write shit and I used to keep it. At some point I even used to record on my iPhone. You know, I just recorded my iPhone and I'll mix it on the laptop and keep it myself. You know, and that kind of was to me at the end of the day. This is the 100% main reason I do this. If I don't enjoy what I'm listening to, fuck it, bro. Like, why would I?
Yeah, I get it.
And I know a few artists like that would tell me, you know, I don't listen to my stuff as much.
I just have to make it.
Like I just make them, you know, and it's like, okay, like it's, you know, it's no attack on anybody or it's no diss. It's just like, to me, I'm like, that's wild to me because I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, if I don't love every song that I make, or not even love it, if I don't enjoy listening to what I'm making, why am I making it? Like, I'm not gonna put it out.
By listening to your recent music, it's like you share a story in every song. But like, do you enjoy that more than just making a song that you vibe to? Which one do you focus on like more when writing a song?
I like, that's the thing, I like to I think of myself more as a flow-driven artist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the sense that like if the words are fire but the melody or the flow is not, I can't, you know, like I have to, usually when I start working I'll come up with the flow first or the melody first or like the way it sounds first, and I'll even mumble it to myself and then I'll plug in the words there.
Yeah.
Most, like, that's kind of, if I don't have something that's already burning in my head that I need to put out, that's usually kind of the approach that I'll go when I have a beat.
The words come along?
Yeah, basically. Like, I need to get the flow in first, and then it's easier to just plug in the words there.
Was that the same with Summer Stories?
That was basically, yeah. I think that was the same for a long time, up until maybe in my earlier days, I was a lot more bar heavy. I didn't even sing. I didn't even have hooks on my songs. Like, I had a few years where I was just, like, rapping, bro. Like, just lyrical fucking puke. Just rapping, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that was amazing because to me, like, it got me to the point where, like, now I'm very comfortable with rapping itself.
Yeah.
Like, just coming up with words, and then just putting them together in verses. Like, I understand structure, all that stuff, and it also helped my flow and my accent, my delivery, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It made it a lot better. But then I remember I had a point in my life where I was like, yo, I need to stop making rap songs. I need to stop making, like, just rap and verses, and I need to stop making projects. And I call them project word for word. And I was telling my friends that, like, yo, I need to start, like, you know, layering things and hooks, and I was inspired a lot by, like, people like Kendrick. You know, when you hear them, like, they make a project. Like, the song has depth to it. You know, it's not just a one layered track on a beat and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and I started doing that, like, these little, like, you know, ad libs here and there, and these little hums.
I can see that in Saturday
Yeah.
in the Soulful Session.
Yeah. And this was 2012, bro. Like, this one, I'm like, yo, I need to start doing that.
Do you treat your albums the same way? Do you like them being like, all the songs have they all have the same genre or the same story behind them? Or do you focus on each song individually? Because some artists do that, some artists have a whole story behind the album.
I don't know if I ever had a time where I was like, I'm gonna do an album, and I had nothing. And then I just like get a blank sheet and start on an album. Like usually to me, I just kind of make the album usually comes halfway, like or 3-4 songs in, like singles in, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm at a point where I've been so inspired. I'm making a lot of music. I could probably collectively put that in something, and then I'll develop a theme while working on it, and then I'll just start making more stuff to fit in the theme or stuff like that. Like that's kind of what happened with Summer Stories.
What was the first song in Summer Stories?
The first song. Are you the earliest in terms of it being written, or the first song I decided, this is gonna be an album?
Written.
I'd say maybe because I wrote that in February when I was in Canada and I wrote that.
By the way, that was the name of his song. He wasn't just saying
Yeah. It's called just 2 M's, bro.
Yeah.
Just 2 M's. So I'd say maybe that was it, and then obviously you have Mvrs and Bobby Valentino, which were already out. The rest of these were kind of written around the time and time frame. I decided I'm gonna put an EP out, and then I was like I should stop lying to myself. It's called an album. It's not an EP. Like I've been holding myself back from calling any project an album, only for the simple fact that I have this high expectation for an album. Like I wanted to do my first album to be like a concept album, like a good Kid, Mad City kind of, where it's like got a full-on theme with skits and a story. So I've like Out of Bounds was a full-fledged album, but I called it an EP anyways because I just didn't want to label it that, somebody. So yeah, like that's kind of what I like in terms of the album. Say I don't think I've done it yet, but I would love to, and I think maybe in the future I might be able to. Just if I have the the headspace for it, I can be like, this is the concept for this album, and I'm gonna sit and do that.
Okay. What inspires you the most to start writing, or is there a specific story that you wanna put in a song or something, or is there a specific thing that inspires you to write something?
Honestly, one of the main things that I like to kind of talk about when I'm just like me talking about like 100 real stuff, like that's personal stuff that I relate to. Is basically like I don't like talking about politics at all, and I feel like a lot of rappers kind of, especially in this region, take that direction, but that's something that's not of interest to me at all. Actually, my entire life I never was into politics. Maybe more recently I've been just reading and keeping up, and I think it's just part of adulthood in general. But still, to me, I feel like you can make a lot more of an impact as an artist if you talk about social issues, and I think that's kind of my focus. Like that's kind of the one thing, and it's not even just about rapping. Like you'll catch me like yelling at somebody about it at some point, and just I'll be talking to people, and a lot of times just from these conversations I'll get inspired and I'll get a concept. I'll be like, yo, this would be nice to talk about. Like one of the things I'm working on right now is basically this song that talks about how it kind of brings it from a him versus her kind of thing, and it's more of I told you about that earlier, So it's like a him versus her kind of thing, and it's just like every one of them, like every gender thinks the other one is privileged, and like she starts listing why she thinks he's privileged and what her struggles are.
It's like a whole conversation throughout.
Yeah, basically, and then she's saying this, and he's saying the same thing. Like he's like, no, you're the one that's privileged because this, and that. And at the end of it, it's a very open-ended song because it doesn't tell you who's right and who's wrong. It just kind of leads you to decide.
Can we preview a little bit of that song?
I don't have much written from it yet. Honestly, it's not as easy as it. It's not as easy as But I can give you kind of a few bars.
We'll preview some of your music at the end of the.
Yeah. Let's do that.
But basically, like that's kind of the idea, and I had that from a conversation. And the thing is, I know like a lot of artists. Well, not a lot. A few artists would do that kind of stuff. Like J. Cole, for example, is a huge inspiration for me in that sense. But nobody talks about it in our society. In our community, it's very different. Like we don't have the whole baby daddy issues. We don't have these things that they talk about in the music. It's
that's
very
relatable.
inspired from the hood. Yeah, but I feel like no one kind of sheds light on these things here in our community, and I feel like it's one of the things that I like doing. Whether it's through Out of Bounds. It's discusses that whole just living abroad or being born somewhere else, and it takes it from very different angles, whether it's like love, whether it's friends, whether it's work, etc., etc. And then for Summer Stories, there's a few things that kind of talked about. There's like there was the song at the end, the Summer Stories itself, just mentioned about like divorce and how like unfair it could be for a woman, you know. And these are things that I just see, whether it's from things that I go through personally or things that I've seen my friends go through or people that I care about go through, and it just kind of impacts me in a way. I'm like, yo, like I should talk about that, you know. Or it kind of actually, it's not even like something I decide. I'm like, yo, this just comes out. It's just like, you know, I've had this conversation. Yeah, I had this conversation yesterday. I'm like, yo, like I need to let it out, you know. Yeah, and a lot of times like it's very emotional. Like it's usually I'm very emotion driven, you know. Whether it's happy or angry or sad or hyped, it's always got to be like an emotion. Like I just sit and like decide like, okay, I'm gonna write something.
Speaking of an emotional time, before the night 1st of December, the night before the 1st of December, can you just explain that whole experience and like how it went?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, no, of course. So it was the night after the album release. We had an exclusive album release party, and it was basically like it was the happiest night of my life, bro. It was dope because it was like an independent event that we did, first of its kind.
Very successful as well.
And it was really, really well done. Like I was so happy. And the next day I just woke up. I remember I was so tired. I went home and I passed the fuck out. I didn't even look at anything. I'm like, I'm gonna check all the videos tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like all the shit. I didn't even open my Instagram. I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning. I'm just like chilling. I'm just looking at the videos, like reposting some, like replying to some messages and stuff. And my mom just calls me and she's like, yo, your grandpa passed away like an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, what? Like, I was like shook, you know. I'm like, I don't know how to feel, you know, because I still got that like adrenaline from the night before.
Different emotions.
Exactly, it's very, very two clashing emotions, and then I'm like, shocked at the same time. And it's like, yo, you gotta like help your dad find a ticket to Egypt right now because this and that. So I'm like, okay, fuck all that, and like I just kind of have to deal with all that. Exactly, and I had to deal with all that, and then I was like stuck in a very weird dilemma because I'm like, on one end, like I really just wanted to stop everything, and then just kind of like, you know,
I don't know exactly what to feel.
Yeah,
because like you have a lot of happiness and endorphins from last night, and then you get such a
exactly
news.
Exactly, and plus like keep in mind the album wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
Like the album was meant to go out 6 days after that, and that whole thing was supposed to be like a hype for the album. So I'm at a point where I'm like in between, you know. I wish it was out, khalas, like whatever. I'll just, but I'm like, yo, what do I do? Like, do I just pull it back, or do I just like I was so confused, and like I spoke to some, like I don't even know why I went on social media with it. Like a part of me regretted that. Like after I posted it, but it's just so many people were messaging me like congratulations. It just felt stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, yo man, like I was dope, congratulations, yo, and all like happy shit, and I'm like, I'm not even in the mood to. Exactly. So I had to just like let people know that this is going on, so like I can just have exactly. But then obviously like the same day, I'm like, yo, why did I even do that? Like I just put myself and my Instagram in a confused place too now, and I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people kind of just like kind of push me to like, yo, like don't worry about it, like you gotta keep going, you gotta keep doing this, blah blah blah. And I even spoke to my dad, you know, because it was my dad's dad that passed away, and I was like, this is my situation, and I couldn't even travel to Egypt myself, like I wish, but I couldn't, and I was like, you know, what do you think I should do, you know? And he was like, he was just like, if your grandpa was here, he would have told you to just do it, you know, because he loved what you were doing, and even though he wasn't obviously much of a hip hop head.
Yeah,
he appreciated poetry a lot, you know, and I remember he showed me a lot of like, you know, Qatari, a lot of like really big poets.
Qatari has amazing
yeah, man, he's one of my favorites, honestly.
Yeah, same,
and I think Omar Effendim uses a lot of his music, his stuff, and I love Omar Effendim. Shout out Omar Effendim, man.
Yeah.
So that kind of was reassuring to me, and you know, a couple of days after that, I was able to kind of just pick things back up and get back to it.
And now, like, one of your biggest successes is in memory of someone you.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things that I just kind of thought of. I was like, you know, that because he passed away from Alzheimer's, you know, and I just kind of wanted to make sure that he's never forgotten in that sense, you know, and so I just put that. I call it the night before the 1st of December, because he passed away in the morning of the 1st of December, and I just wanted to keep his memory alive, you know, and I even got it printed on like the ones that are coming, the hoodies that are coming, so I wanted to just keep that always there, you know. I wasn't even able to write a song about it, man. Like I tried. I remember I went into the studio the night of, and I had like 3-4 different beats, and I just wasn't able to. Like it was too real, yeah. Like I just like, I don't know, but I let it out, it just felt nice letting it out, but it's not something that I'll even put out anywhere, you know. It's more for me.
It's too deep.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw one of your other interviews, and you were talking about how you have like some big goals that are not even to do with the Middle East. Like, where do you see Mars in 5 years, let's say, in the music industry?
Bro, damn, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a tough
It's
question.
very general as well.
It's not even that. It's just like I've been meaning to. I've been wanting to sit down and write a plan because see my homeboy Miro. He's kind of managing a friend of his, another rapper.
Yeah.
Both used to be in Qatar, but right now they're in Miami. And shout out Miro, shout out Hoosh. And you know, he was kind of sitting down and he was making like a 3-4 year plan, and I'm like, yo, what's this? And he's like running me through it, and I'm like, that's insane. I never thought of doing that. You know, I've been making music for so long, and it was been such a volatile situation. It's just like whatever comes, you know. Like, or I make short term goals, like, okay, I want to put an album out, I want to make an event, I want to do a few performances, I want to get that many like plays or whatever.
Do you write that down, or do you just have that?
Usually it's just kind of. Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. Like I did that with Summer Stories. I actually still got the playlist here, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't throw it away. That was a playlist of like Summer Stories where we're making that.
Shit.
And like I had to just check it one by one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. I even have this like old to-do list that I wrote like 5-6 years ago of just things that I want to do in general in music, but I've never checked it since. It's just like I just go with my head.
Yeah.
But I want to sit down and just kind of make a 5-year plan and just see, you know, because other than that, what are you doing?
True.
You know.
What do you think though? Like, do you have any idea?
Honestly, like, I don't know. Like, because I've spoken to a few artists who have been signed to Sony Middle East.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that means. I don't know how far that takes you.
The label.
Yeah, like I don't know how far that takes you. Is it something that could take you as big as, you know, the actual Sony? I don't know. Honestly, right now with the way I'm going, I'm just picturing me on more of an independent route, where it's like, you know, in 5 years.
Yeah, more of Rust, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think a lot of artists are doing that now because it's so easy to distribute the music right now, and if you get something, the ball rolling on one record, and on social media, if it starts going like viral or whatever, I hate that word viral. It's just if something hits enough and the people are feeling it and they share it enough, I think you could get a big break and you can just literally just have a direct contact with you and your fans, you know. And so I guess in those 5 years, what I would hope would happen is that, you know, I'm at a point where, like, let's say I have my reach is big enough that I am able to basically make money off making this music and not have to go to work anymore, you know. Like, I love my job. Like, I'm blessed in the sense that I don't have a job that I hate. Like, it's still creative. Like, I do digital marketing and design and stuff like that, which really helps me in my music. But at the end of the day, like, this is like if I had to choose, like, you know, if I had a time where I had an event here and an event here on the same day, and I had to pick, I always pick music. I always do. I always pick music, and that to me is like, yo, this is what I want to do. On a much longer term, like, my end goal is I just want to be able to kind of get my voice heard to as many people as possible. Like, that was always my goal. Like, it wasn't even about money. Like, the money's nice. Yeah. But I just think, you know,
to be recognized or to be heard?
I'd say both. But it was never about money for me, like music to begin with, because I feel like I've been blessed and privileged to, you know, in the sense that I wasn't starving growing up. Yeah. So I think that wasn't a motivation for me. Not that I'm talking down to anyone else who is, like, it's just my situation is like that, and I recognize what privilege that I have. But so that for me, it's more about just getting my story and being able to kind of, you know, get as many people to hear and be recognized exactly as well, you know, and just make good vibes. And that's just to get back to a quick point that you were mentioned earlier about the storytelling versus the melody part. And that's like that's a gap that I kind of or like a silver line that I try to always reach, like a sweet spot between having something that's playback, like with playback ability, it's something that you'd love to play back and listen to, but at the same time it's got a message. Yeah. You know, and
that's like the pinnacle place.
That's basically and you know, I remember I got that from J. Cole, and he mentioned that something about basically getting the listeners to listen and then giving them the story, and that's kind of I try to do that in the same song. You know, I just want it's a song you'll play back, but it'll be talking about divorce, fucking, something like that. But that's kind of the sweet spot that I'm in. Yeah. All right, might as well just preview this. We just did this today, right? But it's just super, super rough. I'm not even sure I want to preview that, bro. So this is a very slow record. Something I've never tried this before, so.
Reminds me of something. Got you on my mind, so let this sleep.
New stuff for you. Yeah.
Late night jumping.
Yeah.
There's a couple ways we could call it. Got you on my mind, so let this sleep.
That's actually nice. Yeah, it's a new different stuff.
It's very different.
Listen to this as Summer Stories.
It's completely different.
Yeah. I wrote the one that we heard last night.
And I'll show you the one you guys heard last night as well.
My favorite, bro. I can't
I kept singing it on the way back.
Yeah, it was
I
actually
just sent that for mixing and mastering today, bro.
Oh.
So I'm preparing, but we gotta hit that. We gotta hit the 100,000. I told you.
Spotify, come on.
Come on, links in the description.
I put too much in this mission. I cannot weaken for even a weekend. No, I cannot trust and just risk it. That's why I keep all this distance. That's why I keep all this. That's why I keep all this. That's why I keep all this distance. Coming up fast. I pray that it lasts. Demons from my past. Shit, I got past.
That's my favorite part. This right here.
I put too much in this mission. I cannot weaken for you.
Don't let them hear too much. Don't let them hear too much. You gotta stay tuned till it's out.
That's all you get.
It's too hard. It's too.
Thank you so much, bro. That was amazing.
Of course, bro.
Anyway, guys, this has been Beneath the Surface. It's been your boy Z the Third,
Tim Vigari.
and
Just Mars.
see you next time. Peace.
That's it, bro.